Today we are in session 4. I am going to repeat the yesterday's diagram so that you can recall one more time. So this diagram, the name of the diagram is structure of megasporangium or ovule. If they ask in the exam to write the anatropous ovule or write the structure of megasporangium, you have to write this diagram. The diagram consists of all these labelings. The very first labeling, the very first part of the ovule is stuck, which get connected to the ovarian wall or ovary wall. So few of you have drawn the diagram like this. You have drawn the ovary wall also. Don't write that diagram, just erase it. So you have to start with the stalk of the ovule, that is funicle, and there is a part where the funicle and body get connected. The part is known as hilum, and this is the ovule body. This body consists of, or it is protected by two integuments, one is outer and one more is inner, and a mass of cells in the middle or in the center of the body. There is a mass of cells. In this diagram I skipped to write the cells. I am not showing the cells in the nucellus, just like I left like that itself. So this is the mass of cells. That mass of cells are known as nucellus. Here I have shown the embryo sac. So embryo sac is nothing but completely gametophyte, the meiotic division, mitotic division, everything has done in this embryo sac. That embryo sac I am showing here. So these are all the parts and structure of megasporangium, also known as ovule. Most of the angiosperm bears anatropous type of ovule, which is upside down. Now coming to this diagram, we have one more structure is there, that is structure of embryo sac or female gametophyte. So this structure consists of, and you have to mention, don't forget to mention the parts. So this is the chalazal part and micropyle part. So at the chalazal part you have to mention these three cells, or you have to label these three cells as antipodals, and following to the antipodals there are two nuclei, that is polar nuclei, which float in the central cell. They do not have any cell wall. Now coming to the micropylar region, we have three more cells here, that is two synergids, one egg cell. So this egg cell and synergids, we are going to call this as egg apparatus. So synergids, it bears a finger-like projection. As I told you yesterday, that projections or that apparatus is known as filiform apparatus, which guide the pollen tube to enter inside the synergid. So that's all about the embryo sac, and it is 8 nucleated and 7 celled, though it develops from the single megaspore. From the single megaspore it reaches to 8 nucleated or and 7 celled. So this type of, or this process is known as monosporic. Make it correct, monosporic. So this is all about the structure of, yes, till now we studied how the male gametes and female gametes produces. So the male gamete and female gamete, they both are non-motile. How they reach with one another, how they'll get fused, for that, or the process where the male gamete and female gamete, they both fuse with one another. After that the fertilization takes place. The pathway is there, no, that pathway where the male gamete comes to the female gamete and it get fuses. That is nothing but pollination. We'll study the definition of pollination. It is nothing but transfer of pollen grain to the stigma for fertilization. This is nothing but pollination. So as I told you, they both are non-motile part or non-motile structures. They need some agents, pollen grains. That agents are nothing but pollinating agent or pollinators. So that also we are going to study in this part. Before going to study about the agents, I would like to tell you the types of pollination. How many types of pollinations are there? How the pollen grain travels from one flower to another flower. Will it fuse with the same flower or to the another flower? Will it get fused with same flower, same flower of one plant or same species of another plant? We'll study today that. So, based on the source of pollens, the pollination are classified into three types: autogamy, gytenogamy, xenogamy. The first will understand what is autogamy. The autogamy is nothing but transfer of pollen grain from stigma, from anther, not stigma, from anther to the stigma of same flower, So this type of pollination is known as autogamy, where it do not require any pollinating agents or pollinators, where the flower should be a bisexual one. The flower should be bisexual. Bisexual means it should produce both pollen grain and ovary or the female gametophyte. And one drawback you can call it as, one drawback is like here the anther and so this is the stigma and anther. They both should lie very close to one another. So in this condition, the self-pollination occurs. So the flower will be in a closed manner, or it won't open at all in that condition, and the anther and stigma should lie close with one another. In these conditions, the autogamy takes place. You can call it as this type of autogamy, or this type of pollination is self-pollination, where the pollen grain transfer from anther to the stigma of the same flower. Some types of plants are there. I'll write here. Example: Violina, Commelina and Oxalis. So, not Viola, not Violina, Viola, Commelina and Oxalis. So, these three plants, it bears two type of flowers. These two type of flowers, few flowers are opened and it will be blossomed. It is not closed. It will open, the anther and stigma come out from the petals. One more type of flower is there, that will be in a bud condition. So these few types of plants which bear two type of flowers in the same plant. In the same plant, if it bears that kind of flowers, the pollination occurs in the plant itself. If you think this is a male flower and this is a female flower, the fertilization occur or the pollination occur from one flower to other flower. If the flower is not opened, that flower in that bud condition itself or in the unopened flower itself, autogamy takes place. So this is how the pollination occurs. Remember these three plants and what kind of flowers it bearing? It bearing two type of flowers. That type of flowers or that type is known as Cleistogamous and Chasmogamous. So we are in a second type of pollination. So this type of pollination, here the transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma, transfer of anther of one flower, you have to mention here, of one flower to stigma of another flower of same plant. So this is little bit different from autogamy, but the plant remains same. The same plant bearing two flowers or number of flowers it bears. In that plant, one flower of one pollen grain of one flower travels to one more flower of stigma, where it requires some agents, pollinating agents. Without this, the pollination it's not possible at all, or the fertilization is not possible, because as I told you, pollen grain, they cannot move from one point to other point. They need some media so that they can travel from one place to other place. Though it is a same plant, but it needs some media or it needs some agent so that it can travel from one plant flower to another plant, one plant flower to another flower. So with this, we will move on to the third type of pollination, xenogamy. So this is also the transfer of pollen grain of one flower of one plant. Observe this, to the stigma of another flower plant of same species. So this is the main point or the main concept stands on the species. If the plant related to, if two plants are there, belongs to the same species, in between those two plants, the pollination is occurring. one plant pollen grains are traveling to the one more plant flower. On the stigma it is traveling, you just think it as. This type of pollination is known as xenogamy. This type of xenogamy or this type of pollination results in the evolution, and it also brings the genetically changes in the characters of plants. Just think one plant having some characters. If the pollen grain transferring to another plant flower stigma, it is carrying, it is not only carrying the pollen grain, it is carrying its character. When it gets fuses with the another plant flower, when reproduces occurs or the zygote formation, zygote forms or seed forms, if that seed a seedling takes place, in this way the xenogamy brings the evolution, and also it brings the genetically changes. So in the last concept we studied what is pollination, how the pollen grain transfer from one flower to another flower, or if the pollen grain is traveling from the anther to the same flower stigma. As I told you, it need one media. The media is nothing but, or we can call it, or we are going to call that as agents of pollination. Here the agents are of two types. One is abiotic agent, another one is biotic agent. Abiotic agents incense water and air, non-living things these are. So they also help in the transfer of pollen grains from one flower to other flower. And biotic agents, there are number of biotic agents are there, like insects, animals, insects, squirrel, like that, monkeys, that animals also comes under the agents of pollination. That in that biotic agents those are, and bat and wasps. Biotic agents are insects, animals, bat, wasps, like ants, everything will comes under this wasps. Insects like, as you know, honeybee, these are all the agents for pollination. So in this session, I'll stop to this agents of pollination. In the next session, we'll study how the water plays an important media to transfer the pollen grain from one plant to other plant, and how the air helps in the pollination, and insects, animals, bat, wasps, everything we'll study in detail. Thank you.